Thank you very much, Freak, and that is a fantastic beard. But now it's time for our second game of the day, Team Dignitas versus Curse. So far this summer, Edward and his comrades have won 2 of the 3 games these teams have played. But last time they went head-to-head, it was I'm a Cutie Pie who shot Dignitas over Curse.
Yeah, I'm a Cutie Pie had an incredible game as Ezra when they played last. He had a hand in 16 of Dignitas' 17 kills, and he never died that game. In fact, over the last couple of weeks, Cutie Pie has been on an absolute tear. He's actually second in the league for kills on the season at 120.
And for Dignitas, they'll need Cutie Pie to keep racking up the kills if they want to keep their hopes of finishing third alive.
And Dignitas has a very difficult schedule this week. They're losing the head-to-head series against 4 of their 5 opponents this week. So if the trends continued and they kept losing to those teams, they would actually go 1-4 this week. And that would actually put them in serious jeopardy of missing the playoffs.
Curse, on the other hand, knows the best they can finish is third place after losing all 3 of their games in Week 8, unfortunately.
Yeah. Even though they went 0-3, they had the most difficult schedule of any team in Week 8.
Right.
They had to take on Cloud9, Vulcan, and then TSM, the first, second, and third place teams in the league. This week, their schedule gets a significant amount easier. They play 4 teams that they've already beat twice this summer. So, in the opposite trend of Dignitas, if their trends hold true, they'd actually go 4-1 and be in prime position to make the playoffs.
Absolutely. And while Cop and crew have a promising schedule ahead of them this week, Dignitas' Crumbs believes that Curse has a lot of work to do if they don't want to start off the week with a loss to Team Dig.
We Dignitas, we pretty much just have to go in with a good mentality and just try to play the highest level that we can perform.
We just need to practice as much as we can before game and just did our game. I think we're 2-1 against them, so we have more chance to win.
Curse improved over the beginning of the season, and then we played against them and we crushed them. So I still think they have a lot of work to do, and frankly I think that no matter how much work they can put in, with the work that we're putting in, they're not going to be able to beat us.
And we'll see if Crumbs and crew can crush again or if his prediction simply crumbles. Now let's take a look at the starting lineups. On the blue side, it's Dignitas. Kiwi Kid in the top lane, Crumbs leaving a trail in the jungle, Scara in mid, Cutie Pie at 80 carry, and Patoy on support.
And on the red side, Riv, we have Team Curse with Voyboy in the top lane, St. Vicious in the jungle, Nijaki in mid, Cop on AD, and Edward on support.
And before we get into the game, let's first check out who you think is going to win. According to LOLesports.com, 57% of you click that plus thumbs up for Curse, and you think they will win this one.
Very interesting, Riv, because Curse is 9-14 coming into this game. But they have been trending upwards, as everyone keeps saying. They've been trending upwards, and why are they still 9-14? I actually also feel like they've been trending upwards. They just haven't been able to win games. They're playing games very close and then losing them. It's just they haven't gotten everything together, so they're another team that's right on the brink of turning a lot of games around. Whereas Dignitas is another team who plays a lot of close games. Yes, they're actually the only team last week to go 2-1. Vulcan and Cloud9 both went 3-0. But they won close games that they looked like they were losing. And with how close these standings are, even though Dignitas is technically up on Curse, it could all change real soon.
And you got to think of how much close games are going to matter this week. Because we see, you know, Team Solomid or Dignitas come out of one of those close games, or anybody really that wins a close one, and they are happily stressed, if you will. They look worn out, that it's a long match, and it definitely takes a toll on you. So this is still first game of the day for a lot of these guys. Second for us, obviously, but they have a long way to go.
And they are going to have to make sure to conserve a bit of energy. And I guess it's kind of practice for what they're going to be up against if they make it into the playoffs or even the world playoffs, because that's a lot of games that they're going to be playing. We're already looking at the LCS playoffs for teams like this. They're going to have to win 2 best-of-3s if they want to make it in over a couple of days. That's 6 games, whereas we have 5 games just for the Super Week here. And then if they make it into Worlds, the group stage lasts like 5 or 6 days. So
just a little bit of play time.
Yeah.
Then we have to get comfortable in a new chair.
Get practicing.
Absolutely. So things that, you know, have been coming up for these teams in the past, like we said, Curse has been playing well. Their games last week, like I said, versus TSM, was super close. They had a gold lead pretty much the whole time, and then it came down to pretty much base-on-base fight, and it went towards TSM. And one thing that I've noticed about Curse's compositions is it becomes, they create a mosh pit composition. It'll bounce you around and do a lot, but it's not a war zone. It doesn't do the damage to finish the fight. And the other teams have been taking advantage of that.
And specifically when Saint plays junglers like Zac, they'll do a Zac Shen and they'll initiate, but they'll be 3 miles ahead of the rest of the team, and the team won't be able to finish them off. Then occasionally they had that amazing ballistic combo where they put the ball onto Zach, and they were able to combo it off. It's just, like we said, so close to actually working, but never quite finding the right synergy.
So the Kassadin finds a respect ban here for Skara. Usually on that Kassadin pick, it draws a bit of attention from Crumbs in the. It's a safe to level 6 lane, so Crumbs gets a little bit of a free up off that ban too.
Little surprised that they went for the Kassadin ban because Skara's had very mixed results with it, but it's also something to throw Skara off of comfort, which is a very important thing. What was that for? Was that Kiwi Kid?
Somebody just cried out no. That was funny. We heard it.
I know we heard it.
It has to be.
Yeah.
Maybe it was Cop. He wants to go back onto his Twitch. It could have been Cop. It sounded like a Cop.
I think it was Cop.
It sounded like a Cop. That sounded weird.
Especially since Cop started the season with Draven. Draven got his passive changed.
A lot of people did.
Everyone kind of, all the Draven players defaulted back to Twitch.
Boom.
So Cop, no!
Cutie Pie went to Graves. He's like,
Cutie Pie's
whatever.
been all over Graves. He loves that guy. Or Ezreal.
Like Kobe says, if you hit the skill shots, it's going to be a lot of damage.
That's why they're called skill shots, because they take skill.
That
I
is
think that was what Kobe
absolutely
said.
correct.
Yeah.
Bingo, bango.
We got a game
Thresh
here.
is still out. Edward could be getting his Thresh Prince here. Looks like Voidboy still with the lock-in. Zach is up, and Voidboy has been playing a heck of a lot of top lane, Zach.
Yeah, I want to see how Curse responds to that Elise pick, too, because that's the new Elise. Said we're going to talk about it. Spiderlings,
Yeah, we did.
substantially easier to kill now. The health has been dropped dramatically on them, and then they get some scaling arm and magic resist. Also, Repel is not nearly as good at chasing. Not only, like before when you repelled, once you started falling, you could like chase after them while you were in the air.
Yeah,
and
then
that's
they
why
cut
you'd
the
see like the
distance.
repel circle, and then like outside the repel circle, she just land.
What?
That doesn't happen
It's on
anymore.
me! It's on me!
Just like spiders. How did it get here? But now it's, I guess it's more reasonable.
Yeah, kind
Yeah,
of.
I'd say
You
it's
still get
more
locked
reasonable.
up. I feel like I'm going to see a Rise coming out here because at least Rise always is a great composition together, especially with a Zach lock up so much on that team.
Yeah.
I kind of like that Jackie strayed away from Orianna on this one, especially with these compositions like Dignitas runs that can leap, that can jump, that can get out of things, because Command Shockwave when missed is a detriment to the fight.
And Dignitas has had some slightly shaking team fighting as well, where they're kind of all over the place. And you're going to contain him a bit with that Requiem, I'd have to say. You're able to hit him from all angles of the map. I want to see if Skara can find a pick that can outmaneuver Karthus, otherwise he's going to be in a bit of trouble.
Maybe he'll go for a kill. We haven't seen him play Zed in a heck of a long time. They used to send him to solo lanes with Karthus, with Diana. Diana seemed to be too much like an all-in. The team can't get with her. We've heard kind of what
He did play
Shifter
Diana
goes
last
off a little
week.
bit. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
He did. He brought that back out. So maybe they have some options here. He's definitely been expanding the champion pool.
He's been trying.
Yes.
Trying to practice his swimming.
Pop those swimmies off.
I really wonder, though. So, Saint's gone standard with Nasus.
Yeah.
Nasus Karthus is tremendous amounts of in-team fight damage. They're trying to bring the extra crowd control, this is Curse, with Varus. And then Thresh Prince. I really like the things that Curse has been going for, whereas Dignitas doesn't have their cohesion decided yet. Zach and Elise are very generic picks. They both dive in, and it's really down to Scar and I'mACutiePie's picks how their team actually develops. If they go with something like that Zed, they are very all-in, not much protection, which leaves Cutie Pie and Patoy on a bit of an island for themselves.
And you know what we may see here from Dig? It could take that Zed or take another, jump assassin. There's no H in there.
I think
like
they
a
should.
Zed, like a Cass, but then they could run the 2v1 mid and leave Scar on that lane. Because they have not done that in a long time.
No, that's something they used to do a lot of,
Absolutely.
but it hasn't been working for them lately. This makes sense to me, though. I'mACutiePie had that great Ezreal game already against Curse, and then everyone else dives. And Cutie Pie is actually very good at fending for himself. Strong picks there.
Let's see what he can do. Definitely makes plays for the team, like you say, fend for himself. And Ezreal, once he gets to that item threshold of blue build, can easily fend for himself. Yes, Voidboy picking up the Kennen. Definitely a favorite pick of mine. A little overboard there. But we do see the Zed coming in for Skara as well in that last pick for them.
Alrighty, so Curse, very heavy on the AoE damage.
Yeah. A little. We'll go
Just a little bit heavy.
go like this.
Whereas Dignitas has 3 people that are going to try and dive through it, but if Curse does something as simple as sticking together while Dignitas tries to dive in, Dignitas has no choice but to become involved in that AoE fest. It's going to be if Curse tries to almost dive onto I'm a Cutie Pie, that's when they're going to be struck. And that's going to be a very difficult thing for Curse to handle because they love diving so much that it's going to be hard for them to hold back and realize that they actually need to sit back to take advantage of Dignitas' composition.
A previous game last week, actually, Kobe stated, you know, it was a great initiation, but he wasn't initiating for anything. It was Saint on Zach because he was too far ahead. So with that Nasus, they'll be able to walk it in like you said, but I feel like all the jump again. Dignitas loves these super mobile teams, and they're so chaotic in team fights where you need AoE to count.
Dignitas is near the top of the board in all of the kill stats, death stats, assist stats. They don't have the top killers in the league, but I mean, Scar is 109 kills. He's in 5th place. Cutie Pie 120 in 2nd. Kiwi Kid's top in deaths, but it's because they fight so much.
Yep.
Scar is near the top of the league in deaths too. I think he's top 10, but it's just the way they play.
And it's kind of like a power
Controlled
of numbers thing for Kiwi Kid too. He may die a lot one game, but he did great the next game on the same champion. So it's going to even out at some point. We're going to be hopping into the match here. Come in. It's going to be Dignitas versus Curse up on the Rift. We are jumping into the game as well. Remington and Jat here bringing you the second matchup of Super Week here. And we are on to the Rift.
And the Dorn Shield is an item that Dignitas has been buying a lot of, as well as other teams from around the world. But Scar is going for the red elixir as well on Zed because he wants that early kill potential on Nijaki in the lane. So both that matchup and Kiwi Kid versus Voyboy will be very interesting to me if they decide to go with the traditional heads up, because I actually think those will be very skill-intensive matchups.
You know, that's something that always amazes me, like completely, that you come to lane with a red pot and you can sometimes still take advantage of the kill. You're telegraphing that you want to kill that person as you level, and they sometimes still get it. It's always been something that blows my mind.
Sometimes it's just, it's the reason they build the red elixir. Another thing it does normally when you build the red elixir is it tells the enemy jungler, this guy's probably going to be a little bit aggressive. But I don't think Saint can really do much against that with that Nasus pick.
Right.
I do like the choice in this instance of the red elixir because there's not much, even though yes, he's telegraphing his intentions, there's not too much Curse can do to stop him from trying to execute on that.
Looks like Jackie is facing a lot of turret farm this game. It's going to be Sona helping out Skara with the golems towards the bot, or guarding for now, and then it looks like Skara will take that solo lane for himself.
Yeah, maybe that's not going to happen at all. Maybe we're not going to see Karthus versus Zed. Maybe we're going to see Skara versus Voyboy, the old Dignitas teammates.
Speaking too soon. I should just let it go.
Yeah, they swap back.
Didn't have to. Power in numbers here for Curse. Looks like they may want to get a deep ward in, but it will be a known deep ward. You can see Kiwi Kid positioning for safety here, but just for a little bit of vision as well.
So there were a very small number of wards that got placed early on in the game, and Crumbs is basing this off of the invade that Curse had just done to their blue buff. This is going to be most likely just another example of the vertical exchange of buffs. Instead of taking your blue and red buff from your own jungle, you take one from the enemies and one from your own. At the end of the day, that doesn't really do much.
It's a little bit of slowdown, but like I said,
it actually does slow the junglers down slightly.
Not too much to worry about off of that. You can see St. Vicious returning back on his side, going towards that red buff. The wards are down on that side, so it's going to be Crumbs. Oh, not even. Crumbs going for his own red because it was the blue they stole. I was going to say, they're going to see Crumbs in their own jungle and not do anything. St. Vicious getting his. We'll have to see if he goes for the top lane, 3v1, or the help in the bottom lane, because he is already up to that top side.
Yeah, we've talked about in the first game the turret changes, and I think we're going to keep hitting back on this all weekend because this is actually the first real competitive level we've seen on the 3.10 patch. The OGN League is sitting on 3.9, so both the North American and the European LCS are the main leagues that have these turret changes in. Extra armor for the first 8 minutes of the game, and how is that going to impact jungler and 2v1 lane choices? Because thus far, the 2v1 lanes are just as prevalent as ever. It's just a matter of how do teams deal and react to them.
We'll have to see how Voyboy actually reacts throughout the game. Kennen running teleport, not something we see Voyboy running too much. He's always said he likes to stay in the lane, make things happen in the situation he can, and then help later. But now he's going to be helping as soon as he can.
Also, from my experience watching and even playing with Voyboy, when he runs teleport, he actually has trouble making the right decision of when to go in. He will very often be winning his lane, even with teleport, because he's such a tremendous laner, but then teleport for no good reason because he has it, instead of using it opportunistically.
You can see Nijaki trying to do that Karthus farm, going back for the Wraiths every time he can, which means Saint may be spending a little bit more time in that bottom lane to soak up experience and keep himself in this game. Both junglers are 3 right now, so nobody falling behind there. CS still pretty even, only a 4 or 5 lead throughout the lanes.
Yeah, these turrets are not taking much damage, but that's because, once again,
Got
we're
4
seeing
more minutes of that.
We're seeing the defensive lane play from the junglers as well. They're not ganking so much as they are walking into the lanes and clearing away.
The double buffs just looking pretty for right now. Not really use them or able to activate anything. The stone picked up here for Crumbs, so he will be able to continue around the jungle a little bit more and maybe make use of those camps instead of staying in that top lane. Looks like Kiwi Kid will be all right to fend for himself. Crumbs maybe going mid, or maybe just be going top. Oh, he's going to actually deny Wraiths.
And this could be another game where Curse is just waiting for the dragon fight. Kennen, Karthus, Nasus, Varus, just all together. If you catch someone 5v5 in the dragon pit, you're most likely going to win that fight. Whereas Dignitas would, they have Crescendo and Let's Bounce, but just not nearly the comboing potential that Curse has in what could be a mid-game dragon fight. As long as this game maintains in the laning phase and we're not seeing aggressive jungling action from Crumbs or St. Vicious, this actually plays in the favor of Curse, because the first major moment of action would be at that dragon as long as the ganks don't come.
And you know something we have to look at as this team fight phase gets on? One offensive summoner spell for Curse, that Ignite on Edward, because it's a teleport and an exhaust and a barrier coming in for the rest.
And I wonder how much time Crumbs is going to be spending over there. Edward wanted to get rid of him by throwing that lantern in the brush. And that's slowing him down, whereas St. Vicious is just level 5 helping to push that lane. It's all going very well for Curse Rift.
Kiwi Kid taking a bit of damage up top. He knows he can take more than the rest with that passive to jump them or get them away from the turret as well when he goes back in that South Division. 6 minutes into this, just about the same consistent pressure. Good damage onto Voidboy. As Sona, you're going to get those power coins out. He's expecting to take that damage. Stays in and continues the pressure as they finally back off. Crumbs has been farming his face off here. He's only 4 ahead, but he's been not soaking up lanes. He's getting all the camps in the jungle, and that's more experience.
He spent a little bit of time up top.
Right.
And then a little bit of time ganking, but obviously more time farming the jungle than St. Vicious has. And hopefully he can use that to his advantage, because he needs to, especially with those lower health spiderlings, make his impact seen sooner rather than later, because I don't think those spiderlings are going to be living very long in team fights, and that actually hurts Elise a fair bit overall.
And I was actually wrong. It's Saint. Saint's about 3 to 4 minions alone, or 2 camps himself, to getting that level 6, having objective presence, but it looks like Dig is going to take that into their own hands right away.
Going one step before Curse is ready, because Curse has the dragon fight team, just not at this time. Cop and Edward are both top lane right now, 1v2ing against Kiwi Kid, and because of how strong the turrets are and because of Crumbs' early game babysitting, that turret's not even close to going down, and Dignitas really just grabbed the dragon from under Curse's noses. I feel like Curse still wants to go and make that dragon fight happen, since St. Vicious went back to base to buy a pink ward to clear out the dragon here. Too late.
Yeah, that was picked off just a few seconds ago. Saint Nijaki was actually backed for that entire time, so a very good communication call by Dignitas there, and playing the mid lane by Skara to have to pressure Nijaki out. Pink wards in the top lane as well, coming in for Voyboy to make sure they are now safe. That was actually the AD carry support, so they're going to swap it out.
Yeah, that was a really good play by Dignitas, I gotta say. They needed something like that, since the lanes weren't necessarily going in their favor. Kiwi Kid was getting 1v2 better than Voyboy was, 39 to 25 when you compare that farm. Even Skara with the red elixir start, even though he hadn't consumed it, wasn't putting any emphasis on stopping Nijaki, but they made the dragon call and they made it work, so that gives them a slight edge coming out of this early game.
We'll have to see how they use it. Dignitas does usually have that definitive strategy for the first few steps. Once they get to that leap in the mid game, you see things slow down. We saw it kind of happen in the first game of the day. Still, again, a very slow matchup with the turrets being a bit stronger. That 8-minute target hitting.
Gotta watch
you see Kiwi Kid rather getting hit up a little bit. He gets out, but Batoy is going to be hit up in the bottom lane. He is trying to do what he can. The Requiem comes down. They were baiting that for Crumbs. He may still be in range. They get the flash. Doesn't decide to take the lantern. And they get out safe.
That was a very awkward fight down in the bottom lane. Batoy, you heard the crescendo sound go off, but the ultimate didn't go because he died right before it would come in. Maybe Scar can make something happen here because Cop's flash is down, but with barrier up and the thresh shield, I don't think they can make anything happen.
No vision to St. Vicious, and Dignitas a little aggressive on this one.
This is giving Curse the opportunity to push up the mid lane as well. Just a solid series of events for Curse happening, and Dignitas did not have the right answer for it.
Gonna have to keep an eye on tricky wards being placed down here by Dig. We're actually gonna see where this crescendo, what happened.
Yeah, so Batoy just got locked down and knocked back, and then seemed to just kind of freeze for a little bit, trying to find the right
ultimate
ultimate area.
Crumbs too.
Yeah,
a lot expended for the thought of that. Crumbs, I don't think it was really anybody's fault, but the communication itself that Crumbs wasn't as close as it needed to be for that.
Yeah, it's probably just trying to bait a little bit extra because they were setting up a gank.
Yeah. Worth it.
Didn't work out.
Kind of worth it.
Not worth it.
Didn't work out for him that time. The first blood going over to Thresh, so it's not going to hurt too bad. They did get the combined gold of the assist onto Cop, so he's got a little extra in his pocket there.
And St. Vicious actually coming up to maybe stop Kiwi Kid if they get the stun, and they do!
Throws down the slicing Maelstrom. He is going to let's bounce, but they're going to party along with him. Take these out. Who's going to get it? Who are they going to give it to?
They should give it to
You're going to be
Voidboy.
nice, Saint? Yes. Good guy, Saint.
That was smart. That was what we call a good play. Because Saint has tried in the past. He used to kind of be known as the carry jungler.
Absolutely.
But in games this season where they've kind of struggled after he's picked up a lot of kills early, it's very true that when Voidboy does well for Curse, Curse wins. When Saint does well for Curse, you never really know what's going to happen. So smart move there, giving the kill. Because it was to be given since the blobs weren't going anywhere. Right to Voidboy.
You're looking to get impact out of Voidboy. You put teleport on an AoE ultimate that's usually used with a flash to go in. It's going to be good if he gets kills. Looks like he's going for an early Haunting Guise to start this off within his build. 11 minutes in, see the pressure in the bottom lane from Cutie Pie is just up to the turret, but they have evened up the ADs and supports in the lane.
And I actually want to talk about Cutie Pie's build a little bit, because he did this in Week 8 as well, where he's doing the blue build Ezreal, but he starts with a Brutalizer. And one of the weaknesses about building a tier very early on in the game is that your early game power is nullified.
Yeah.
You're not doing anything with that extra mana, but when you rush the Brutalizer, you're kind of balancing a really good early game item with not that good of an early game item. So he's still a strong presence despite getting the early tier because he went for the Brutalizer. It hurts him at the very end of the game when he's just got the Black Cleaver a little bit, but it's good for him right now and for most of the build-up.
Skara sitting on only 100 gold, so he's just gone back. He himself has a brutalizer as well. There we go. But once he gets that Blade of the Rune King, we know what Zeds do. We have watched it all League of Legends long. I won't even name just a specific league because it happens everywhere. It becomes an impact, a playmaker, and that's going to be Voidboy and Skara trying to get those one-on-one, the picks back and forth. I can't wait till they get those items under their belt. And it's only going to be like another 8 minutes.
It's not going to be too long. Scar's still sitting on that red elixir, and he's hoping to catch Nijaki checking for him right now because Scar has been missing in mid lane for so long that Curse is thinking that a dive is coming bottom, and therefore Nijaki would want to move towards there to counter gank. That's why Scar was waiting in that bush. But Nijaki's not falling for the bait. He's very much in farm mode, and he actually goes and checks it now when Scar's returned to the lane. So just the sync isn't there for Dignitas.
So 2 kills so far in the favor of Curse. Coming up big onto these ones. St. Vicious having a hand in that as well. 13 minutes onto this as they make sure it's going to be safe to grab this up, but it will be pressure from Dignitas here to come out of the blue. They may force this smite.
Yeah, and Scar would want to land a skill on someone, but that was just such an investment by Curse to go in and protect that blue, and St. Vicious actually ends up smiting it away from Nijaki, which means There's no smite in this dragon.
So good of timing by Dignitas to go in, force the smite as usual, get the dragon for themselves. Coming up with the second one there. The first one wasn't even known by Curse, so they really didn't have a specific timer for that one. Really played well and adapted by Dignitas.
Good mind game that they played right there, because there was no intention of Dignitas actually stealing that blue buff. They were just trying to see kind of a numbers check for Curse. What do you got there?
It's almost
what are you willing to
wanted
use?
Saint to smite, so let him have it.
Once the Saint ult was burned and he used the smite, Saint Vicious isn't going to fight Dignitas the dragon. Dignitas got the dragon.
14 minutes in, they are racking up the global gold, but with the CS factor coming in and a few of the kills, it's only 200 is that deficit right now for Curse. Fighting very well. Like we said, even though Curse had that 0-3 last week, they have been able to make these games count up until that very late game mark. And right now, they're keeping themselves on top in kills and positioning here. They just got to start the objectives now.
And we got to touch back on that team fight the Curse really wanted. They have so much AoE damage, but Dignitas is also highly mobile. The problem, though, with Dignitas is Zac, Elise, and Zed all turn into melees when they're going in for the kills. And if all Curse does is somewhat huddle together, they can punish that dive greatly. But as soon as Curse puts themselves in that middle ground where they're actually going for I'm a Cutie Pie and Patoy, they expose their backline to all of Dignitas' dives. So they have to approach teamfights extremely delicately.
Oh, they're going hard on the St. Vicious. I believe his ultimate is down. They know from the bottom half he will get the teleport in. The slicing Maelstrom just in range. He dodges, flashes through the Maelstrom before he dies. The Requiem helps to secure the kill.
And since there was a double buff on St. Vicious, that's a fresh double buff on Nyjackie, so the St. Vicious smite on blue buff eventually makes it around to Nyjackie.
Transfer complete.
That's a good move for Curse right there.
3-1 as they first, or Dignitas rather, picking up their first kill, but Curse does not let it go without one of their own. Scar at 131 as we look at him just crushing down minions in mid, but that's 20 behind right now onto Nyjackie, and they've really had a one-on-one lane throughout this game. We'll have to see what they can continue to do. Voyboy with that teleport down is going to be forced to pressure this top lane, and we'll see if there's any engagement from the jungler's bottom. Here comes Crumbs on his way.
Scar wants to sneak in behind, but with all the how far Curse is pushed up, they're thinking about backing up a little bit. Scar is just not finding his way, and this is the reason that Nyjackie is ahead of Scar in farm right now, because Scar is, that's the third or fourth time we've seen him looking for that kill bottom lane. And the third or fourth time he's just backed off. All the while, Nyjackie has been able to just farm the wave with his Qs over and over again and get that farm advantage.
Maybe they're waiting for Crumbs on this Scara. Tiptoeing once again to that side brush. The minions resetting in mid, and he will again venture down to that bottom lane. We're going to see if he can go for a kill on this one.
It's round 5 of them trying
Saint's
this
reading
one.
it.
Even if Saint's down here, it's a 4v3 and Requiem is down. I feel like Curse might have to back away. This is a very dangerous thing. Dignitas is trying to avoid these wards, but they should just go.
They want to use this window. Scara goes in right on the cop. That is a big amount of damage. The Mark will kill him. Edward now focusing, trying to huddle under the turret. They aren't getting too much huge damage, but they are able to execute with Crumbs, the backside, and Dignitas making moves, a turret of their own, countered by Jackie.
Yeah, I think the mid turret is more important than the bottom lane turret, but the 2 kills are definitely good for Dignitas. Curse could have had that same trade if Cop and Edward would have recognized that Scar was missing for so long and just backed away. But they were a little bit confident since Scar had second-guessed himself so many times and didn't think the gank was coming in that magnitude of power with 4 people. But they were wrong. They end up getting turrets out of it, and at the end of the day, they're still even in gold.
Definitely making some good moves, able to shut down Cop on a bit of that CS he had built up in stacks on his Bloodthirster, which he got quite early in the matchup. The Sheen finally built into Cutie Pie, so he's getting a little bit of burst damage there on his Mystic shots or his auto attacks after his skill.
On both of them.
Yeah.
A little bit of extra
And
Sheen procs.
not an ore. So we see Negatron Cloaks coming out, respecting the magic resistance that Voyboy will have coming into this game. That's not a very early, but it's quite early Zanyas to be able to initiate, especially with a Karthus and a Nasus coming in behind you.
Yeah, they're going to be very focused. Specifically, Dignitas needs to be focused on continually finding these fights because they don't want the game to break into organization. They want to keep the chaos going throughout this game.
Kiwi Kid actually choosing to go Sunfire Cape before he goes for the Visage in his build, unlike the previous game that we saw.
Which is strange.
Against a very AP heavy team.
Yeah, it's a little strange considering he's laning against Voyboy. But the early lane from Kennen is a strange mix of attack damage and ability power, so it's not that bad of a call.
We'll just say nobody saw that. Coming in, trying to get a kill on. They are able to grab mid turret and complete that vision exchange in middle, both of them losing that first tier turret in mid. Only one stands in the outer tier for both teams in top and bottom lane. That means 2 turrets, means 1,000 gold lead. It's very slow here. Curse can usually keep it within that 2,000 to 3,000 gold lead. It's almost Vulcan-esque the way they do it and continue the fights.
Yeah.
They're usually able to win. I noticed this in watching a lot of their matches. Fights when they're down 5,000, 6,000 gold.
Curse can do that very frequently, and the thing is, this part of the game is so telling for them. If they can just not get picked off by Dignitas' roam when the early turrets are down in the mid game, they're going to be okay. And specifically, if they can find this Dragon Fight number 3 together and not get caught in a 4v5, it's going to be tremendous for Curse's chances.
Piercing arrows letting them know that there is vision. You see Kiwi Kid
Curse wants this fight really badly.
lock off of the elastic slingshot. Another piercing arrow as they just get a bit of poke in here, allowing Kiwi Kid to tank Dragon, getting a bit of his HP back from that. Oh my gosh, they are just taking pokes back and forth. Not really looking good for anybody. The ultimate hits Jackie, but he can still do it when he dies.
Now Jackie is a little bit low. He won't be able to get off as much damage as he would like. If Cop can land a good Varus ultimate, it could swing this fight. But with how much damage Jackie took, I don't know if Curse is interested in this fight anymore. But Dignitas is recognizing how scared they should be of the composition anyway, and they're just staring at each other.
It's almost like nobody thinks an extended engage would favor them. They just walk away.
Well, they decide to push the lanes instead. Dragon is a very dangerous point in this game for both teams because they know how much the rest of the game swings on what happens in the next few minutes.
That's not something we see very often at all, Jet. Two teams
There's the
walk
Varus
away from each other. They are able to come in. Chain of Corruption locking them down. Right on top of it comes the crescendo, and they continue this fight. Crowd control from both teams, stopping the fight for a second, but the kills finally come out. The Requiem comes down. They are able to chase this one out, and it's huge kills coming in from the Requiem. The ace onto Dignitas.
And that was exactly the fight that Curse wanted to happen. Dignitas tried to dive in to Curse, and Curse just sat there with their AoE. The teleport came in for Voyboy just the right time. Let's watch this fight again. Bear Assault hit 5, so everyone got locked down temporarily, which nullified that crescendo right now. Yep. And then the teleport comes in. The rest of Curse is able to come in, and Voyboy cleaned with the Requiem. Curse didn't have to be worried about the overall mobility of Dignitas because Dignitas grouped up on the turret for them. That was perfect for Curse.
And that is crazy. We saw Jackie half HP before that fight really coming in, and he was still able to make big things happen. Curse coming out very big there. The teleport finally coming into play from Voyboy in a very big engagement. 8-4 as the game just took a very big swing.
That's the second really strong teleport we've seen from Boy this game. His decision-making in the past had been questionable on teleports, but that in particular was the perfect timing. The reason that Dignitas engaged that fight in the first place was because it was a 4v5. They essentially forgot about Voyboy's teleport.
Watching that crescendo go across, it was so nullified by that Chain of Corruption. It's such an unfortunate event that half seconds and seconds can make that happen in a fight. Definitely something that will be ticking on Patoy's mind in his placement of crescendo for next time. As we said, the score is 8-4, a 2,000 gold lead from all of that, though. So it's still within reach. It's a bit of a sway in items. 2 Zanyas now to really cause chaos in a fight, and it can change a fight pretty big, having that invulnerability.
And even though Curse is up by only about 2,000 gold, there was about a 3,000 gold swing based off that series of events because they were down, I believe, before that happened. Maybe. I think they were down before that happened. And that's just such a huge momentum boost for Curse as they move in and have teamfight confidence now.
We'll see how this goes as well. Jackie has been known to get a few kills for himself, but isn't the one to continuously carry the game for the team. He's 4-1-5 right now, so there is a lot of damage being put on him. So he's going to have an extra job to do in finalizing those kills and continuing that.
Yeah, those Jackie items are going to be scary for the rest of Dignitas as they move into this game. I feel like he's going to go
He actually doesn't like Rabadons.
Yeah, he did.
Void
Thing is,
and
he
then
didn't
maybe
do
later.
Jackie didn't do the tier Catalyst Karthus build.
Right.
He instead just went straight Rod of Ages because honestly, if you go tier Catalyst against Zed, you're putting yourself at a bit more risk of dying. And he's giving himself a bit of Zed resistance right now with that build. It's still going to transition well late game. Even though he doesn't like Death Cap, I feel like that's the item he should be going for next.
Cutie Pie faster than most. Iceborne coming out in the order of the build. So his team, he has actually got some good farm under his belt, though. He is still behind Cop, who is keeping it going. One known to have quite a bit CS throughout all of his games. He keeps it consistent. Those two looking to get some final third items under their belt, as they both have two. The Bloodthirster Last Whisper, and that Manamune into Iceborne.
And those are Cop's two favorite items that he has built right now, and that's why Curse is trying to push this one down. Here's the second risk that Curse has. If they overdive in a fight, it allows Dignitas to put a fight back onto them, and they're in danger of having that happen to them very shortly.
A whole lot of free damage right there. Saint actually gets hit by a long-range cocoon. Ooh, traded
right back at you.
So both of them coming out with a skill shot poke.
One other thing I want to mention about the items, too, is top of the show, we mentioned Runic Bulwark is gone from the game. Last game, we did see Locket of the Iron Solari, which is the Aegis upgrade. This game, it doesn't look like either jungler are going for it. We have the Magic Pen jungle coming out from Crumbs, and it looks like St. Fitch is going straight towards Randwins for the heavy physical damage from Dignitas. This actually benefits Curse in the long run, because Curse has a huge amount of magic damage on their team. When you factor in not only the double AP from the solo lanes, but the amount of damage that comes out of Nasus's ultimate, the fact that Crumbs doesn't have that 20 magic resist aura in Aegis is going to improve Curse's chances in team fights by a huge margin.
And those team fights are something I think they need to start activating. Having the Zanyas, you saw Dignitas now is like, you guys have two of those. We're going to stop and wait for this next fight until we can also wait for those to wear off. So Curse needs to start engaging these before Dignitas just scales up to where they need to be.
I really wonder if Dignitas can actually make it to that point, though. With double Zanyas already 25 minutes in, and Scar not really putting his stamp on this game yet,
Zed.
for a fair bit until he can get on Cop. Right. But if Scar is diving all the way through to Cop and Curse is playing it conservatively, that's when they do the same thing they did in that Ace, and they just wipe out all the divers from Dignitas once again.
And Curse has the composition to stop that. Hard to dive a Karthus wall, hard to dive a Nasus Wither, so Cop's pretty safe in the back line. Even though these guys, like we said before, have only one offensive summoner spell on Edward.
That's a very Edward-like thing to do. I like the fact actually Nijaki picked Exhaust just because he was against a kill lane, essentially, and he needed the defensive capabilities. It certainly hasn't stopped Jackie's ability to get kills as he's 4-1 on Karthus.
You gotta notice this farm, Void Boy to Nian here. 219 to 152. Mounds ahead in that one. Almost a completed Rabadon's death cap.
Yeah, Kiwi Kid.
Dice, what?
Nian.
Did I say?
He was Zach in the last game.
Oh, I did. Oh my god. And then I did balls on Rumble. It's all right. We'll get there.
We will. I mean, it's a good point still, though, because Void Boy has destroyed Kiwi Kid, which is the opposite of what we saw from the last Zach in a game, where Nian had that huge edge on Zion Spartan's Rumble.
Yep.
Void Boy as well going for the Zanya's death cap combo, what looks like just maximum damage once he's able to complete that. And I really think that this next Dragon, unless Dignitas finds a non-5v5 fight, it's going to be good.
Kiwi Kid from the outside. The death mark goes down instantly onto Jackie. He Zanya's the damage. It does not stack, and it looks like he's going to be able to get a more Defile. The Lay Waste go out. The Requiem to come in and finalize a few. He gets a double before it even goes off. He gets another one to come off of that unless the team grabbed it. No, that's going to be it.
And that is the 3 kills. Assist going to Nijaki as well. A good opportunistic fight by Dignitas, but they just couldn't pull the trigger, and now Curse is able to push on this middle turret.
Very, very good fighting coming in from Curse. We saw him down a bit of gold. They had the 3K swing. A grab onto Cutie Pie from Edward gives them a little bit to think about as they leave the base, waiting for Jackie to come back up. These guys are going to start taking everything out of the jungle.
Curse is trying to go around the horn, as you say, and just get everything away from Dignitas as the respawns happen. That fight was just another example of Void Boy using his teleport at the right time to make Dignitas think they had a numbers advantage. And if they keep doing that, Curse is going to keep winning this game.
Merman finished up here for Cutie Pie. He's going to get that damage that he has been looking for. A little bit of a burst for him there. The past 3 ultimates, I believe, have just been used to try and clear waves. That one was a Baron check.
And it was a worthwhile Baron check, too, because if Dignitas gave up Baron to Curse in a game that's slowly slipping away, it would probably put them over the edge.
He will head back, grabbing red now. The super slow of the blue Ezreal has now come to fruition for him. It looks like he can start to initiate those fights with Qs now, getting them back in almost a second or less. Curse going straight for this dragon, knowing that Ez ult is down, and the vision right now on to Dignitas allows them to do it safely. 11-5 at 29 minutes into the game. The 4K gold lead, actually 3K gold lead, is into play here for Curse now.
And also, with the Quicksilver Sash that Kopp has just completed, everyone has an answer for Zed's Deathmark. Everyone who Scar would actually want to jump on. If Scar is willing to use all of his full burst combo on St. Vicious, Curse is going to say okay, or if he goes for Edward. QSS gets rid of the Deathmark, Zanya stops the damage. This is a very difficult game for Scar to be a part of now.
He has got his Hex Drinker. He hasn't even had time to really go for his second tier boots. He knows he has to build the damage. They're behind in those items. Zanya's is a good chunk of armor coming in for both Voyboy and Nijaki, so he's trying to get through that as you see him build the last Whisper before those other items.
Yeah, and they need the Black Cleaver to be completed somewhere as well, since they're so heavy in physical damage.
Yeah.
Cutie Pie started with the Brutalizer, but he wants a last Whisper first as well, and it's actually on Scar to get that Black Cleaver completed.
Seeing what the fight will be, what is Dignitas looking for these engages?
So Dignitas is still trying to find Curse spread out, or they're hoping that Curse actually initiates a team fight. All the fights that Dignitas has had so far in the game have been them trying to dive onto Curse because they think Curse is undermanned, and then Voyboy will come in behind them with the cannon ultimate and just finish the lockdown, whereas the dive actually hasn't been strong enough for Dignitas in the first place to actually finish off Copper St. Vicious. So what Dignitas really needs to do is not overdive, and I think they need to wait for Curse to try and initiate on them, because the gold lead is still very manageable for them. And I think they still have the ability to outmaneuver Curse as long as they don't just continually jump in to their strongest point.
And at the strongest point right now, you see things like Voyboy picking up a blue elixir here. We're 30 minutes into the game, so that's definitely going to help. But you see elixirs come out when the team wants to win that fight definitively, make a run for the inhibitors, something big to come off of that next one. We see, you know, NK Ink on his carry junglers picking up red pots in the middle of the game. So Voyboy is looking for a big next fight with his team.
And it does look like, with the way Curse is roaming around, that they're the ones looking for a fight now, as they should be, because they have a lead. But that is also exactly what Dignitas will need to turn around the game. So this next fight could be very interesting.
Dig themselves looking to get in here. Only the Ruby Sightstone or the wards that they have right now to put on the map, and they may just have to back here. Edward with that Oracle's out over to Patoy. I believe he still has his. He has not been pushed out of that area. And they will be right now, actually. Dignitas is going to have to call Scar to the back, or back to the top side. You can see Voyboy's teleport is coming up shortly, so he has taken that roll back in the bottom lane.
It's amazing how well the pacing of this game has fit Voyboy's teleport. Because Dignitas, despite normally playing chaotic games, hasn't been able to force any team fights after Voyboy's teleport is down, yet all the team fights Dignitas forces, seems like the teleport has just came right back up. Dignitas, even though it's 32 minutes in, would actually want to accelerate this game, because as long as they're relying on trying to catch Curse off guard, it's so much more difficult when the teleport's always up.
With those early Zanyas, it kind of timed them out in the fights. They were always able to stop the fight. Dignitas comes up and they put Voyboy and Nijaki on the front line, and usually you kill those guys, but they can't do anything. So super helping, like as you were saying, it roll into the teleport every time, which is now up, and Voyboy has passed the river, so he is getting quite close to that bottom second tier turret.
And I can imagine the expectations that are on Curse right now. If we think about preseason, when they picked up Edward, everyone was expecting the world from this team, and the fact that they're 9-14, tied for 6/7th place coming into the final game, they really have to perform. And a game like this that is this close against a team that they are competing with indirectly for the final playoff spot, especially since Coast lost in the first game, is incredibly important for them. They can't make mistakes.
Definitely see that Dignitas, I mean, any team will halt a little bit more when you don't get your carry that kills, but Dignitas more than not. Scara not being able to go in anymore. He's the one who's usually saying, I'm not even in my final form yet, as he goes in, gets multiple kills for his team. So Dig is definitely on the communication path of figuring out how to thwart what's happening right here in the bottom lane.
And I'm wondering what Voyboy's plan is right here, since Curse would have had an opportunity to have a 4v5, since they knew there was no way Scara could follow up to that. But even so, Curse decided not to, because I think they recognize that if they overdive, they're still leaving themselves open, and they didn't even want to do that 4v5.
Curse actually giving up a turret here in the mid lane. Something we could see about the communication. Kiwi Kid's gonna get stuck though. Will they put themselves in a bad spot just because the turret went down? Kiwi Kid able to bounce out there with the ultimate. I don't think they'll have the crowd control to lock him in. They didn't get that for free, but Dignitas made out pretty good on that.
Yeah, that was the mobility actually coming in for a pretty big benefit there for Dignitas. Kiwi Kid took a whole bunch of damage. What's the
They're not going to get stuck. I thought they were going to try to head in, do a Dragon, and get caught on this, but Dragon's not even up. They are fine. Curse really can't step out of the base to grab it anyway, so I'm just uh-ohing here.
Yeah.
Kiwi Kid in the top lane, still, not even. He is now 100 near CS behind Voyboy. Let's see what he can do as they move up. He's 0-3-3 to the 1-0-5, so Voyboy having a good game on top of that, so the confidence is there. We saw Nien on Zach being the one with for sure initiations. Kiwi Kid's kind of using Let's Bounce right now to get out of these fights. Dignitas can't find those initiations that they've been looking for.
Even with all the team fights that Curse has won, the gold lead is forever dwindling. This is a very important juncture. As Dignitas went for Dragon, Curse is going for Baron, and unless they were willing to rush this down, they're not going to get it in time. This is something Dignitas is going to scout and be able to stop. So that is a Dragon for Dig. Unless Curse stays on it for even longer, takes more damage, and now I feel like they're more vulnerable.
They have to know they're sitting on a ward here. They don't have much vision on Baron, but all they need to know is that there is not a pile of Dignitas inside that pit. They do, as Crumbs, being very valiant in his attempt here, goes up towards Cop. And I think he's just going to dance it out. And
this is another force from Dignitas pushing up the mid lane. This is where the game has actually went wrong for Dignitas in the past when they try to dive when Voyboy isn't there. This time they get a bunch of turret damage and then pull back away. Very good move there by Dig.
Deja vu for both of these teams. Curse also trying to make plays as well as the calls are back and forth. There's always one person trying to make that move. The Baron was thwarted. The bottom turret has finally been grabbed by Curse. I think they came out on top of that one.
I really wonder how much Voyboy is going to be able to continue this split lane push, since his teleport is up and threatening, while Curse has tremendously fast Baron killing potential when you factor in Karthus and Nasus. Dignitas is in an incredibly tough spot right now.
So much turret done to the, or so much damage done to that bottom turret. Voyboy able to teleport to the fight if they need to. Still Kiwi Kid on the outside.
Yeah, this is almost a 4v5 that they're forced into.
Here comes the teleport coming in from Voyboy. He is going to be on the outside of the fight, and it looks like he won't even get the help here. Pushing out Cutie Pie, does get that kill. Cop's able to drop down Kiwi Kid. Those two go down in a chaotic fight.
And Scar was not even close because he was the answer to Voyboy, who teleported in, but Curse is low, and Dignitas is going to go in for a fight.
They get the grab on Crumbs. They throw down the Requiem right off the bat from the fountain. Scar very low. He gets he gets the shutdown on Cop before going down. Good gold there going to Scar. Very much needed. Patoy will go down, but he is going to get the kill onto Voyboy. He gets shut down gold as well. The pockets are just getting too heavy here for these players.
Crumbs is so
in
close.
a 2v1. They have 300 health combined against his 250. Nagaki walking into the fight, cannot pinch them. The rappel goes up, and it looks like he will finally go down on the outside for the ace.
Wow, that was a whole bunch of action. It looks like Curse, since it was a clean ace, even though they're very low, is gonna go for this Baron afterwards. Huge turn of events for Curse, and big calls had to be made during that fight.
That was crazy. That was like an extended Baron attempt that Curse had stopped, and they brought it back right after they chose their own adventure on that.
You know what? They can't get it.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Saints quite low.
Saints a little bit low, and Kiwi Kid's rushing towards it. I just got to talk a little bit about all the chaos that happened in that last Baron fight because the 4v5 wasn't actually that clean for Curse. So Voyboy, here we're going to actually have a replay of it. This is the 3 men that came in after the fight. Patoy landed a very good crescendo, and it actually looked like Dignitas might be able to turn this one around a little bit. But Saint, Voyboy, and Edward together managed themselves quite well and ended up getting multiple kills out of it.
Such a crazy fight, and to think that Nightjacky ulted from base, so they didn't have his full power within that engagement, but also Dignitas was scattered themselves in that fight. So a little bit of an unbalanced from the Requiem, people may say. No,
yeah. The balance of the Requiem affected that a little bit, and Jackie is getting very close to that Rabadon's death cap, whereas Dignitas actually has the double black cleaver as well. So that's very powerful armor shred coming through, and now with no teleport up and Scara split pushing, it's a dangerous situation Curse is putting themselves into once again here. I wonder if Dignitas is going to be able to get a fight here. Curse can't just take a bunch of damage at Baron there. Look at the poke.
And you know, something that you have to realize here is that Crumbs is going for a carry jungle build here. Straightforward. Abyssal Scepter, haunting guys, Sork boots. He is trying to get the kills out. They're letting Kiwi Kid be a full tank for this team.
And that build is even helping Kiwi Kid do an extra bit of damage. Because even though Kiwi Kid didn't go Sorcerer Shoes, he's got the Magic Pen coming through. This is an incredibly tense Baron, though, for Dignitas, because there's fights going on in top lane as well.
They pause. It looks good. Scara's going to back out. Voyboy backs out as well. They're going to call that out. They know Scara's not in the fight up at Baron, and they once again back off. A top lane push across the river is going to help Curse here to stop any quick mid engagement as both teams reset.
Here's the cute thing about what Scara just did. His death mark outpaces Zhonya's, so Scar wants to stay up top, which is actually why Curse is pushing him out right now, because they want to kill him.
Got a little bit of aggression going on.
Dignitas is just going to try to take Baron here. St. Vicious is nowhere to be found.
Scar is going to hotshot this one, if you will. Run around, cause the distraction. They do have Saint down. There is no smite coming in. Crumbs is very low, though, so if they can get these ultimates in, if Voyboy can get in, he does not have flash. He does not have ultimate, but they might be able to drop Kiwi Kid here. The Ignite hits. That is not going to be a Cell Division passive for him. And Curse stop another Baron.
This game has gotten a little bit silly. They keep going for Baron as the split pushes are coming out, and no one is close to creating this Baron from going down.
Don't say the B word.
But they're saying it a lot right now, because Scara is all about the split pushing, and then Curse is apparently about it too, because St. Vicious decided to chase after Scara near the end of that fight, which then prompted Dignitas to try to go for a Baron, but they didn't have the firepower to do it because Scara wasn't there. This is absurd.
5 people in this game at a 300 CS clip, some almost hitting 400 right now, and it's still a 100 deficit for Kiwi Kid versus Voyboy. We've seen that in the fights. The initiations aren't fully there from Kiwi Kid, but it's just been the factor of Curse keeping Dignitas on their heels for the initiations in general.
And so much is on the line for both of these teams. You can tell in the way they're playing. They're making very dangerous decisions because they want the game to swing. Even though Curse is up 17 kills to 7, look at how close the gold is right now. It is still anyone's game. I'm a Cutie Pie, even though he's 1, 2, and 3, is reaching some incredibly potent items for the type of game that Dignitas wants to play. They want to poke around, skirmish, win the long fight, spread around the outside, and that's what that build is going to be able to let him do now that he's completing it. This is getting actually very good for Dignitas.
Scara just picked up the Guardian Angel, so he's now somewhat on the level with what they can do with the Zhonyas. He can also wait this out and cause that chaos in the fight. 17-7 here. We've said, even though Curse went 0-3 last week, they were on top of their games with a slight mistake in the end. That's still open to happen, but they have slimmed it down significantly.
And Dignitas has been better in close games than Curse has. That's the main reason that Curse is behind Dignitas in the standings. They both have the same amount of blowouts or getting blown out. They typically both actually play a lot of really close games. And the Baron is not something either team has actually had much success with. St. Vicious, because he's had a very poor track record with the smites, and Dignitas because they lost a lot of games going for Baron, which makes it all the more curious why Baron is such a priority for these teams right now.
one of these teams, usually this is Dignitas, that what Curse is doing, dictating that quick lane push, pulling somebody off the objective and making them cover a turret. They're going to go 3 strong here. Voidboy knows it's going to be hard to fight that now. He goes on with the death mark, throws it down. The Zanya's right away. He may outtime that. No, it lasts for it. It looks like he outlasts the Slicing Maelstrom.
But the fight is going on at the other side as well. Chaos has emerged.
The turret did go down. Nijaki very low, but he gets himself into a perfect spot to just deal AoE damage, and you see Dignitas have to disengage the fight. The shutdown onto Nijaki. The Requiem comes down from Death Defile, and it looks like it's going to do some good damage, enough to pick up a few more.
Curse has to keep going, though, because Skara has killed Voyboy and is making a push happen of his own.
They've lost that inhibitor turret, but they can't get the inhibitor. How far can Skara go? Continuously pushing onto that lane, and he will start to put damage on the inhibitor. This is not something that Curse got.
And now it's all about whether I'm a Cutie Pie and Crumbs can chase far enough to get Skara out of the base. Overall, despite that being a 2-for-1, Dignitas wins that exchange.
Huge win on that exchange, especially until that inhibitor respawns. So they have a lot of time to work with here. That means from the farthest point of Baron, unfortunate for Curse, they probably can't engage that anymore.
Doesn't
because
look
of that
like
inhibitor.
It's now a battle because up until just now, Voyboy had been destroying the rest of Dignitas with map pressure. But if Skara puts himself to a point where he can duel Voyboy through his Zanyas, which he absolutely did there, that means Dignitas regains the control and negates the power of Voyboy's teleport.
Dignitas has definitely been acting a lot faster than previously. They know Cutie Pie has that ability to kite now. All of that crowd control from Crumbs and Kiwi Kid can effectively come into play, and they just kite it out 19-9. So only a few kills there picked up for Dignitas, but the inhibitor, like we said, was huge, keeping the game within 2,000. Definitely leaving it to anyone's chance. 6-6 on turrets, leave 5 for each team. Who's going to be the first one to the Nexus?
Yeah, the kills do not tell the story of this game
Not
either.
at all.
And for Dignitas, they put themselves in the initial hole because they were trying to turret dive onto Curse. Skara needs to continue split pushing, and then Dignitas actually does need to continue to play around this Baron if they want to make something work.
Just looking for a little speed boost to get down the lane. Was not enough. From the backside, the wall goes down into Crumbs. He actually heads up. I think that death sentence was just out of range.
This is the type of fight Dignitas wants because they can do a slow chase with Ezreal. They might continue on or just peel off for something else.
Ooh, they had a great split there, but too much terrain was put between them and the engagement after that lantern. So a very nice disengage by Edward just in safety.
And
oh dear.
Such a dangerous moment here. All the AoE damage from Curse in this tight corridor. Unless Dignitas gets a perfect initiation, this fight's not going to work.
They go into Edward. They know with that crowd control, the team won't be able to help too much. Cutie Pie walks through the wall. Giant Jackie flashing into the fight, but nobody's on the zone. And it looks like it's Voyboy from the backside. Will he be able to do enough? The crescendo hits him while he's in Zanya's. 2 have fallen for Dignitas. It's only Nijaki. Patoy goes down there. A third one. Skara and Cutie Pie running for their lives, but looking to keep them off the Baron. Do they have what it takes?
There's still 2 main damage dealers up for Dignitas, even though they are both very low. Cutie Pie is going to do everything he can to stop this.
Curse getting very lucky right now off a minion spawn in the base. Going to stop those super minions. They have the time to try and fight this Baron out. Cutie Pie with good damage from the outside, but they are not able to keep it going.
That fight was exactly what Curse had been waiting for again and again in this game. When Dignitas tries to dive onto Curse, it ends up poorly for them. Let's take a look at how this fight happened. Their initiation was not ideal. Watch the teleport from Voyboy. Immediately Dignitas could not dive in because they realized doing so would catch them in all the AoE. Even though the Varus ultimate didn't land, the crescendo could not come in properly because of all the other lockdown, and Curse just chased through.
The Zanyas are wreaking havoc in this game. A simple press of the button negated 2 full ultimates, crescendo and death mark. Voyboy coming in huge with that teleport. Curse again using that window of Requiem and teleport to take a huge fight. 23-10, still a demanding lead, but this should be a demanding lead at this point. Curse should be able to win these fights now. Dignitas isn't letting that happen.
Yeah, here's the crazy thing about Curse with an advantage now, is Curse has only been able to get advantages when Dignitas thinks Dignitas has an advantage. So how does Curse capitalize on anything, because they haven't been able to do it in 47 minutes? Even with all that just happened, Voyboy still can't deal with Scar in a split push scenario. So Curse would essentially have to win a 4v4 diving into the base of Dignitas in order to make something happen in this game. And I don't know if they can do that.
They have the Nasus, but combined with that, we got the
Dignitas,
Shirley is the flash crescendo going in. St. Vicious is the focus. He actually gets the death mark too. Skara uses it on something he knows it's going to hit. It works out there, the 1-for-1 so far in the fight. Will they decide to continue? Voyboy is very low. They crescendo out. They Shirelia's out of that one to stay safe.
And I think this just slows things down for a little while. Dignitas tried to catch Curse by surprise because they knew Nijaki wasn't in the area for that one. But it was still just a 1-for-1. It got the Baron off of someone and delays whatever Curse had planned. But as we were saying, I don't know if Curse actually has anything planned because it doesn't seem like their team has the capabilities to deal with Skara or the mobility of Dignitas right now.
And Skara nailed it on the head there. He went for somebody he could actually do damage to that time. Without
We said he wasn't going to do it, but then he did.
Without a chance of it going down. They knew the damage is still going to count. And if it didn't work, he's still got another spell reel coming up after the Guardian Angel in the fight. Slowly grabbing kills, thwarting the attack coming in from Curse here. 24-11 now. The 4K deficit for Dignitas still has them up one turret. And that one turret also leaves an inhibitor open. So they're still working with this. And with Baron down and the map objective free, they can work every entrance to the base.
And there is just a huge amount of gold in this game right now. 75K to 70,000. That's actually not much of a lead when you're dealing with this amount. Look, it's an 18,000 gold AD carry to a 17,000 gold AD carry. The mids are only 500 apart. These gold advantages only really matter when you're looking at Kiwi Kid versus someone else, because that's the only substantial actual item controlling difference, where Kiwi Kid isn't sitting at items where he's working off wards and Voyboy is approaching an actual max item build. Everything else is so close in this match.
And that, as you were saying to Kiwi Kid, that Voyboy matchup is a 5,000 gold deficit. So a very big initiation there, but that's also something to look at for Curse. Their initiation, a lot of it is a walk-up initiation or a have-to-flash in initiation where you have Zac to come in, you have Crumbs to repel, Scar to gap close. So they kind of have to telegraph or find a fight in the jungle here to really get it to go on their way.
Yeah, it's such a... There's a reason this game is 50 minutes long. And it's because these teams have incentives that are contradictory to each other. Dignitas has an incentive to try and dive, whereas Curse has a whole bunch of AoE, so they have to sit back and wait for him to come. But then, since Curse has a lead, the teams don't want to do either one, because Curse wins by getting dove on, and Dignitas loses by diving. So what is actually going to happen next? We just got to wait and find out as soon as someone breaks or takes a risk and does a suboptimal play for their team.
Well, Flash and that teleport both on a 300-second cooldown for Voyboy, and they are both about to come up at the same time, so that may be the window. The Requiem is also up. Looks like Curse's his Flash is up now, so they will be able to engage on something pretty big. Then again, everything for Dignitas, but Kiwi's Flash is up. I don't think he's going to matter. Elastic Slingshot to come in for that fight. So Curse waiting, again, like I said, that jungle engage, that catch out. They have to walk up the engagement. So Dignitas is definitely steering clear.
Someone has to make a play in this game to create a cascading amount of action, because there's so many buildings down, because the death timers are so long, and because there's so much gold in this game. Any one big play can win the game entirely. So if Skara kills Voyboy again, or just starts dueling Voyboy, everything else is going to start happening. Curse is going to have to decide very quickly whether they want to continue to play defensively and still not have an answer for Skara's split push, or whether they want to take action into their own hands and just push up the mid lane, go for the inhibitor, and go for a win. But it's difficult for them because I'm a Cutie Pie's blue build Ezreal is kiting so well at this point in the game, which is why these teams are just locked right now and not able to make action happen.
And we talked about telegraphing things earlier, and you know how it kind of just walk it into a fight or do something. When you're down to the last turrets on your base, there's only so many things you can do. There's only so many ways to stay unpredictable in your engagements. So it becomes even harder to get into the base. And that's what Dignitas is dealing with right now. Even under in gold, they're still making their way into the base, trying to stay unpredictable.
And it's because Curse can't necessarily deal with Skara anywhere. So we've seen when Skara's in that side lane, St. Vicious is kind of cheating over there to make sure Skara doesn't try any funny business, and then he just continues on his way. This is going to be this is an incredibly tight game, and so much is on the line for both of these teams.
I am excited for this next fight because it will not be over shortly. It is going to be an extended team fight and definitely a test of the pressure that these players are under right now. 53 minutes in, that team fight probably is going to be in the game at this point.
And Voyboy actually went for a Lichbane, and I wonder if that'll put him over the top in dueling Skara.
Wow.
That's going to be maybe more important in this 4v4
That's
fight.
interesting.
If a 4v4 fight would even happen.
The Lichbane definitely helping for that personal engage, as well as if they do win that fight, those turrets are going down fast. You have the Nasus, you have that Voyboy with the Lichbane. These guys will be looking to destroy structures instantly. That 1v1 in the bottom lane still happening as Skara pressures. Looks like Voyboy will be able to hold it off, but here it is, Jat, the tango for Baron, probably the 5th or 6th one of the game.
Yeah, there's a couple tangos going on right now. There's the 1v1 and the 4v4, and when one starts, I actually feel like both fights happen at the same time. It's just we don't know when it's going to happen.
They have to. They have to keep Voyboy in Zhonya's. They have to keep him from teleporting. Crumbs gets the Wither, but they also do the Cocoon on the backside. Not too much of an engage here. Cutie Pie hits the entire back line to slow down 3. Kiwi Kid from the left side. This is the initiation they were looking for. The True Shot Barrage could come across. He will not be able to shoot that out. He actually used it earlier. Skara takes down the inhib.
Yeah, so as we thought, the fights happened at the same time, and it looks like Dignitas may have won both of them.
He gets the catch on Edward, but it's not enough damage just yet with the build. Shoots onto Saint. Will they be able to get the second Cocoon on? Yes, they hit another kill rather, coming in onto Edward for Skara. He goes inhibitor to mid for the kill and out.
So the answer to the Lichbane question of whether Voyboy could beat Skara was no. He got obliterated. He didn't die, but he had to give up the inhibitor immediately. And then, as we thought, the chase skirmish potential of Dignitas, when the AoE was split up due to the split push, gave Dig the advantage there, and they get their first Baron of the game now.
That's going to be huge. Crumbs smiting that one out. Dignitas now to reset, get some purchases, clear this top lane, and utilize a downed inhibitor in the bottom lane.
So now, Riv, we're back into that situation again, where Dignitas needs to dive onto Curse for a team fight.
Yes.
I don't know if it's going to work out for him. This is now the longest game of the season for Team Curse, as we just saw. Dignitas has another 15 minutes or so to go if they want to reach their 71-minute epic. But I can see it getting there with the way these teams are just locked into not being able to finish the game against each other.
And you can see Curse filling up those inventory slots with the last of what they can. A Thornmail coming out for St. Vicious on top of the Randuin's and the Visage, and his Golem Spirit there. Like you said, the Lichbane Ryla's on Voyboy trying to split push as well as counter the split push that Skara has been able to find a way on top of.
And these item builds, as they get closer and closer to just everyone being maxed,
Another GA on
make the gold lead even less important. And if we start analyzing kind of exactly what these guys have built, yes, Voyboy and Nijaki have incredible amounts of AoE damage, but unless they're actually landing that on multiple people, their overall DPS is quite low. Cop, max item 80 carry, but he doesn't necessarily have enough to shred through Kiwi Kid, who with Randuin's and another Chain Vest, maybe going towards a Thornmail, could actually end up hurting himself a little bit more than he deals.
Right.
I don't know, man. This one, it's still going to be a close finish.
Technically, is that going to burst back to Skara, though? Is that a significant amount of damage, especially with the Guardian Angel?
I'm more worried about Cop if someone on Dignitas gets a Thornmail. I don't think Skara is going to get hurt by St. Vicious' Thornmail whatsoever, and I don't think I'm a Cutie Pie is going to be hitting St. Vicious. I don't think that Thornmail is actually that much of an effect on Dig, because Dig is very spell-based, and the Thornmail returns auto-attack damage.
Yeah.
So they're not worried about that Thornmail.
We'll have to see Nijaki not throwing down the wall just yet. Oh, he heard me. Throws down the wall, make sure they can't get the rest of the damage, but that is only going to be a few more shots. I don't think Dig is going to leave without taking that one down.
Yeah, and even though we showed the graph for these teams' longest games, neither of these teams have won a game over 50 minutes this split. So we're in uncharted territory for both of these guys.
They're pulling out the new strategies. You can see the ace and the ace of spades coming out of the sleeve. We're running this one now. Zone 2. Let's go for blue. See what they try to pull out here. The Oracles coming out into Crumbs. They are just spending the rest of the money they have, putting on the elixirs, getting ready for the final fights.
Yeah, and Dignitas is hoping to catch someone out of position. but that is not something they've been able to do, as we can see 12 kills to 24 in this game, because Curse wins the team fights every time Dignitas has a slight edge. Dignitas is great at getting the edge, but they just can't finish them. Voyboy has been getting handled by Scar for the last 20 minutes or so, so the more Dignitas can create that matchup, the better it is for them.
Curse came into this game with first blood in the bottom lane. Good aggression there. We're able to keep the kill lead and still have that. But it seems like they may have been, if you will, cursed by that first blood coming into this one. We'll have to see what Voyboy is not trying to split push a lane, and all of the lanes right now are at the front door of the base of Curse, but they're trying to guard the inhibitor.
Look at the damage Cop just took as well. They have to go back and basically concede this. This is a huge step forward for Dignitas' team.
This makes the rest of the lanes stronger as well in the way of minions. They get a bit stronger coming in now, so they'll be harder to fight, harder to pressure, and with a squad like Dignitas coming in the way they are with the Guardian Angels, it's going to be hard.
This fight actually has to happen soon for Curse, right now.
Jackie throwing himself in. He gets the flash there. Wouldn't really throw it on the Zanyas. He gets great positioning. Scar's for the back line. This is going to be that Guardian Angel going down. Like we said, this is not going to be a fast fight. Scar actually makes it out. Cocoon by Sane. He walks right by. The Requiem comes down. Coming up for the double kill. Believe that Cell Division served for Zach. Technically the triple kill coming in. They will finish that off. Crumb's doing what he can with Cutie Pie, but Curse has thwarted a base attack. It is not stopping though. Crumb's forced to flash. He clicked on the golems closest to him. St. Vicious on to Cutie Pie. One last hit coming, a double kill. The shutdown for Comp and much needed gold for the team.
And that wasn't even a Dignitas dive. That was just Curse chasing down Dig. The one huge benefit from that fight, though, was that Dignitas got down so many of Curse's turrets, but now Curse is going to be on a counterattack because 60 minutes in, those death timers are gargantuan, and there is a lot of damage still up for Curse as they try the counter push.
This is huge. They do have Edward's shield. They have Saint on Nasus, who's pretty tanky. And most of all, that middle inhibitor taken down probably 20 minutes ago, or middle inhibitor turret rather, allows them to quickly get some damage on some Nexus turrets.
So Curse is going to try to get these Nexus turrets down. They do not have minions, so those turrets have backdoor bonuses right now. Crumb's trying desperately to fight them off.
Seeing home guards now coming out on a lot of the members' feet here from Dignitas. 5 seconds, 7 seconds on these timers.
Soon.
They're going for that
It's
Nexus
a race.
turret. It's going to be a shot for it. They're going for the Nexus. It's going to be Curse. They went 0-3 last week. They don't want it to happen again, but they could be thwarted. Scar doing big damage.
How low is it?
A few more hits, and Curse is able to take the game at 60 minutes.
They were up in kills the whole game. Dignitas could never finish them off, and they got the one team fight win near the end, and then they made the call. We knew a team was going to have to make a play to win this game, and that was one hell of a call to go for the Nexus.
They were on the back foot so much for the end part of that game. They had the kills the entire time. 24 to 14, 17, 18. They were slowly racking up for Dignitas. Curse knew there was a final fight that they had to make happen. And like you said, you thought it was going to happen on that last turret. What else did they have to fight under after that turret went down? They had to go.
And they did. I mean, backs against the wall, and they made a play in more ways than one. If they lost that game, they would still be tied for 6th and 7th place with Coast. But when Curse wins that game, they put themselves right now 1 game ahead of Coast in that playoff race. Huge victory achieved there by Curse.
And we were talking about it earlier, the tension that will come into these games, the possibilities created by all of the variations that can happen. A 60-minute game now under the belt of Curse and Dig, and they have more to go on the week. It's going to be a bit strenuous.
Yeah, just a couple things about that game. There were 3 members of Curse over 21,000 gold. Skara had 23,000 gold on Zed. A lot of farming for that one, and even though they can get a little tedious, I love seeing games where teams are locked up against each other, never really able to finish, because that's when you really get to see the risk-taking that teams have to make in order to make a victory happen.
Dig going for Baron, not something we see too often.
Yeah, they had to do it. Almost worked.
Had to, absolutely. All right, guys, we've got to take a short break, but when we return, we'll be joined by Curse's Cop to talk about their exciting final push victory, and then Velocity and Team Solo Mid square off in our 3rd match of the day, the North American League of Legends Championship Series. We'll be back right after this.
David Freak Turley here, joined by Curse's Cop, their AD carry. By the way, we share the same first name, so I wanted to let you guys know that. So first of all, that game was crazy. It looked like you were CLG there, over an hour-long game. What happened? Why did that game take forever?
I don't know, we just never were able to really push into them. Kennen couldn't hold Zed, and then, of course, Blue Ezreal poke is kind of really hard to contain. So we tried so many things and they didn't end up working out until we got a really good pick top and we could win the game.
So describe to me the things you tried that didn't work. What were the failed attempts mid-game?
Obviously, like the 15 attempts on Baron, those didn't work out.
Okay.
And we like kept losing mid wave off that, and then we also lost bottom and Hib, and basically just trying to go for Baron didn't really work out.
So tell me then what happens when you're like, shoot, there's a split pusher who's winning the 1v1s, even though we have teleport. How do you, and Barons are failing, like how do you keep your mind into it? How do you say, well, shoot, okay, their game plan's working and ours isn't. We should be winning. How do you focus and find something that does work?
All we can do is basically wait for our split pusher's TP to come back up, and then have him push out bottom while we're forcing Zed to come mid, and then eventually someone has to go bot to hold the wave, and then we just try to go for a pick and force team fights.
Of course, you guys found that pick at the end there. Of course, congratulations on that win. So I want to actually branch out and talk about you as a player, because you've changed, I feel, a lot this split compared to last time. So Spring Split Cop played a lot of Misfortune. We got target banned a bunch, but that was kind of your only champion. This time around, you've played 8 AD carries, and you seem to be playing a lot better overall as well. What do you attribute that to?
I don't know, like Misfortune was very, very strong last season, and I didn't really find any other AD carries to be like super like on that level, and so I just went with Misfortune every single game. But this season, I don't know, sometimes like champions are getting banned out, like Twitch got banned that game, and then I don't know, sometimes I have to switch to like Caitlyn or Quinn maybe one day, hopefully.
We'll find it. All right, actually, we heard you yell out when the Twitch was banned. Any particular reason?
It was a joke.
You don't actually care about Twitch?
I did not expect the ban, but it was a joke.
Well, at least you're still pulling target bans, so congrats on that one. So I actually want to talk to you about then how you've been playing better this season, though, overall, putting up, I think, a more aggressive performance and better numbers overall. How have you improved so much?
I think just it helps when you like can pressure lane a lot better and maybe win some lanes sometimes. That usually helps your score out, and I don't know, last season it was kind of hard for me to get out of lane because I think I was kind of weaker as mechanically, and so now that I'm a stronger player, I guess I look better. It helps.
So how much of it is you, how much of it is Edward?
Probably like 70% Edward. all the picks on Thresh.
You really believe that?
He did land a really good hook on Sona that game.
All right, so giving a lot of credit away, but I think you're still doing awesome as well. So I want to then talk to you guys about your playoff run. We're in Super Week. You've got 5 games, well, I guess 4 ahead of you now. How did you prepare for that?
We played, I think, we took like no breaks, and we just played like 8 hours a day of scrims and just focused really hard on practicing and like securing our like staple team comps and just, I don't know, just hoping we're ready with our team comps instead of like randomly picking random stuff like we used to.
So a very focused practice then. Were you focusing on specific opponents to practice for or just on Curse as a team?
No, we just made team comps that can deal with anything that anyone else picks, and so we have a couple now that we can bring out.
Cool, I'm looking forward to seeing those. So you're 1 game through so far. You're actually in control of 6th place right now. You're a game above Coast. How do you see the rest of your week coming?
Well, I don't know. I just want to get 6th, so we gotta aim to win as many games as we can.
Okay, so actually your goal is just for 6th place or as high as you can in the playoffs?
I just want to go. I just want to go to PAX.
Just want to go to PAX. All right. So one final question for you. The very next game coming up actually is Velocity versus TSM, which are 2 teams that you guys play tomorrow. How do you see that game going? What do you think of the teams?
I think TSM will probably have the upper hand. We scrimmed them all week. We played them probably 12 hours this week, and so I think they're looking pretty strong. But so we just need to see how Velocity plays, if they changed up anything, and so we just need to see how they're doing.
All right, well, Cop, thank you very much for your time. Congratulations on your win, and good luck with the rest of your playoff race, and maybe we'll see you in Seattle.